Tuesday, and every Tuesday we like to do the Great Drive Debate. And today's Great Drive Debate is based on a conversation we had not so long ago.
You might have noticed that over the past, I'd say, few months, there was a massive push for us as motorists to be aware there will be a name and shame campaign. We will make sure that the roads are safer and you will not be drinking and driving.
The campaign was called Nzanila Ezwe. And we spoke with the spokesperson of KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport and Human Settlements, Stacey and J Sbu, and he had a lot to say about why initiatives like this are important.
The message is very clear. You drink, you drive, you are going to earn yourself a criminal record. At the end of the day, the license that you get is just a privilege. It is not a constitutional right. So if you abuse this privilege, we take it away from you.
And so, let's get into it.
Here we go.
The views and opinions expressed in this feature are those of the listeners and participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of East Coast Radio.
All right, now the response to this on the ground, on social media, to that conversation we had yesterday with the Department of Transport, quite one side or the other. Strong feelings though, both sides. So the first argument you're going to hear is the following. It is embarrassing to be named and shamed, i.e. we should not be naming and shaming. It sounds as follows. Those against the campaign argue that once a person has been arrested and gone through the court process and received their sentence, that they have already faced the legal consequences of their actions, right? The justice system has effectively done its job. So making their name public would add another layer of punishment that extends beyond the courtroom, and it can permanently damage a person's reputation. It can affect their employment prospects long after they've served their sentence. It may also go on to impact their families who were not involved in the offense, but could face embarrassment or social stigma as a result. Critics also believe that justice should remain within the legal system, and once someone has paid their fine or served their time, the matter should be considered closed. It's done, we're wrapping it up. Public exposure, they argue, risks turning accountability into humiliation.
And on the other side, yes, the public have the right to know. We agree with the naming and shaming of people who commit drunken driving. So on this side of the debate, supporters of the campaign argue that court proceedings are public record and communities have the right to know when someone has been convicted of behavior that puts their lives at risk. Drunk driving and other serious traffic offenses can have devastating consequences. By making names public, authorities are reinforcing the seriousness of these crimes and promoting transparency. Supporters believe that the possibility of public exposure may serve as a powerful deterrent, encouraging others to think twice before engaging in reckless behavior. They argue that this is not about public humiliation, but about accountability. If someone's actions endangers others on the road, then informing the public about that is justified.
So KZN, as the hour continues and we get into this week's edition of the Great Drive Debate, the question we are asking you is naming and shaming a necessary wake-up call regarding drunken drivers? Or, in your opinion, is it public humiliation? Send us a voice note, 061 792 9495. Otherwise, call us on 087 086 9495.
The views and opinions expressed in this feature are those of the listeners and participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of East Coast Radio.
So in case you missed it, the Department of Transport and Human Settlement in KwaZulu-Natal has introduced the Name and Shame campaign targeting serious offenders, particularly those convicted of serious traffic violations such as drunk driving.
Now, we presented you with two sides to this, right? Obviously, if we are going to follow suit and do exactly what the department has suggested that we do and continue to double down on that, not only will people's information now be made public, but also it is within the confines of the law. So nothing that the department is doing is beyond the realms of what is legal in South Africa, okay? But also, is it helpful? Is it not going to extend the hurt and embarrassment? Is the humiliation worth it? You know what I mean? You did the thing, you've learned your lesson, you paid your fines, you've done your time. Is popping people's names, occupations in general, like areas where they stay, is that one bridge too far? And that is the chat that we're having today.
Fun fact, drinking and driving causes roughly 58% of all road traffic fatalities in South Africa, contributing to nearly 10,000 deaths in a year. Drinking and driving isn't a mistake. It's choosing to make your vehicle a weapon. And that's it.
Another fun fact is that through this particular campaign right here in KZN, road fatalities have dropped by 18% since this campaign kicked off towards the end of last year.
Yeah, powerful.
So clearly, there is something in the naming and shaming and in the severity, the weight of what it means to be caught now if you are drinking and driving. There is something in that. It's making people not imbibe alcoholic beverages and then get behind the wheels of their car and potentially cause damage not just to themselves but to other people and by extension those families. So we're weighing up pain and loss in a family versus embarrassment in yours.
Yeah.
So where do you land on this? And we wanted your thoughts, and what we can tell you is that you had many, this is just a mere drop in the ocean of what you had to say, KZN. Have a listen.
Hi guys, Nick Denaker from Zuzini. Definitely public humiliation, and we're going to spend some time in court sorting this issue out. And I'm definitely going to make some serious claims, especially as the one person pointed out, the family getting involved in something that they have nothing to do with, and their futures getting involved in this story.
Hi guys, naming and shaming and public humiliation, those things don't work in this country. We've seen it. Whether you look at the political side, whether you look at people that just do wrong, I think people get a kick out of doing the wrong things in this country. So yeah, those two things are definitely not going to work. If people get caught for drinking and driving, I think that first offender should be 6 months of your license being suspended, and thereafter we look at prison time. I mean, sometimes guys who are being, we call it name and shame, they go to social media and before you know it, they are almost like a celebrity. So yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. Thanks.
I think this is necessary to make it public, because often some of these people might end up driving your kids and you might entrust them to be on a road with your kids and not knowing that they have been previously endangered somebody else's life. And if you know this now, it's been made public, now you'll be very cautious to make sure that those people are nowhere near your kids.
There was a voice note, I think it was the second one, about how naming and shaming doesn't work in Mzansi because that's how you turn into a celebrity. And I understand that guy's point. And I actually agree. I think it should be a combination of jail time and then naming and shaming follows after. Because this is like taking literally a loaded gun and shooting it into a crowd and hoping it doesn't hit anyone. Like, people's lives are at risk. It's not one of those small crimes. People could literally die, and we've seen in South Africa how many people have died. Like I said earlier, 58% of the fatalities on our roads are caused by drunk driving.
I think what is the most disconcerting, and I appreciate, just for context, I am a newly licensed driver. As a woman well into my 30s, I got my license, less than a year ago? So I've only ever taken public transport. That's all I know how to do. So I've never had to make this apparently very difficult decision of should I be getting litty with my friends and then driving home. I do not understand that we actually even need to have a conversation about the fact that this shouldn't be happening because you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it is my grown woman, newly toot beep beep licensed brain cannot comprehend that we even need to be having a discussion about this, that the government and all their precious resources would have to go towards naming and shaming grown people who know that what they're doing is not just illegal, it's just not what you do.
Wrong.
And you have got myriad of options. You could also just stay at home if you needed to have that drink.
You have that option.
Yes, you also have that option. So in a world where we have so many options, all you're being encouraged to do really at the end of the day here is to do the right thing. And you know what the right thing is.
And I also think we need to extend where this naming and shaming applies. There is one issue that we have here in Mzansi that many women have to go through on a day-to-day basis. Gender-based violence in South Africa is a big problem. And I feel like people who abuse women and who abuse children should also be named and shamed after severe jail time. That is how we're going to send a message to those people as well, including murderers, including our public officials who commit crimes, who abuse our taxpayers' money, from white-collar crimes to all these different crimes that we're hearing and seeing in our news. Those people too need to be named and shamed. It's about time, guys. But also, sprinkle a bit of jail time so that a lesson is officially learned.
You want the full podcast? Go to ecr.co.za. Click on Stacey and J Sbu.
Stacey and J Sbu, 3 to 6 p.m. on East Coast Radio.